Okay, so now we have set up all the hardware information. We have put in information about what kind of gripper we have, IOs, dimensions, lifting column, and IOs for the pick sensors. And we are now ready to calibrate the system. So the first thing we need to do is measure dimension of our calibration box. This can be any box. It doesn't really have to be the box that we are going to palletize later. So we're going to measure the height, the width, and the length of the box. These dimensions we enter into box dimensions in the calibration view, and then we press next. We move our robot to waiting position. This is slightly above where we pick up the box. This is to avoid unnecessary movements while palletizing. Waiting position is where pallet will move while waiting for boxes to get into picking positions. So when we have set that in pallet, we move to next, and then we have primary picker position, and this is the picker position for our conveyor. If we have only one conveyor, this is the position to calibrate. If we have two, you also calibrate the secondary picker position. So we move our box into position. It's important that we place it correctly according to the fixed guide. As you see in this system, the fixed guide is on the right side. So we make sure that our box is placed correctly. And then we make sure that the tool connector on our UR robot is pointing in the direction that the boxes are coming down the conveyor. If the conveyor had come in from the left, we need to turn the gripper 90 degrees so the tool connector still points in the direction that the boxes are coming down the conveyor. But this conveyor is coming from the front, so we have a tool connector pointing this way. So we will now move our gripper, placing it on the center of the box. So the center of the gripper needs to be on the center of the box. So even if, like this gripper has a slight offset in Y direction, we still need the center of the gripper on the center of the box. It is useful that the box is slightly bigger than the gripper because it makes it easier to measure. If we have placed it correctly, that it's equal distance on both left and right side, and the same in front and back. So what I see now is that we are slightly behind, so let's move it up a little bit. Now it looks good. I can also see there's a slight rotation. It's really important that it's parallel with the box. So let's rotate it a little bit. It's really important to do this accurately because any errors when we calibrate the pick position will give us errors while palletizing. So take your time, get this one right, because it's sort of like the foundation of all the palletizing movements later. Let's move down a little bit. What we like to do is that we like to compress the foam or the suction cups about 50%, so we make sure that we have good contact between the gripper and the box. And now we can see it looks good. We have compressed the foam a little bit and we set our point. Then we set the conveyor total width, and that includes everything, everything that we can crash with. On this side we have emergency stop, we have guides. On this side we have a motor, so it needs to be the complete width of the conveyor, so we know how wide it is before we can move down. And then we set it in pallet, and also we say if the fixed guide is on the right or the left. So this one is right, and we also set the fixed guide width, and that is the width from here until anything you can crash with on that side. So this one, let's say, is 200 millimeters. And we are done. What I would like to suggest then is turn on the vacuum on your gripper, because that fixes the box in the same position. And we are now ready to start calibrating the pallet position. So now we have turned on the vacuum of the gripper, so the calibration box is in a fixed position. So we're now ready to calibrate left pallet. So we will start with this closest corner. So we go to change position, and then so what is now important is that our edge of our box is aligned with the edge of the conveyor, both on the short side and also on the length side. We also need a little bit of space underneath, because we want to be able to decompress the foam or the suction cups without causing a collision. So let's move it a little bit further down. And this one looks good, so we can save it. And then the next position we will do is on this side. We now have the tool view, so we just move in a straight Y direction. To see that the box follows, and also the same here. Align the box with the edge of your conveyor. Let's move it just a little bit down, and we set this point, and then we do the third and final position. When we do these positions, it's important that our tool connector is pointing towards the conveyor. Do not turn the gripper just to reach any of these positions. If you have problems reaching this far corner, you can just stop before it. You will still get a good calibration. But now we have our final position, and we press save. And then, of course, we do the same thing on the right pallet. So we're now going to show you the screens for what we just went through. So this is the first screen that we start with calibration. This is the box dimensions. You enter your length, width, and your height, and you just press here, change it, and confirm. And then when these are correct, you just press next, waiting position, and you just press change position and move your robot where you want it and press save. Then we have next position. This is primary picker position. Same thing, change position. And then set it when you're set to position. This is where you set your conveyor total width, as well as fixed guide position, left or right, and fixed guide width. We have secondary, but this one we have disabled because we have only one conveyor. Then we have viewpoints. When I talk about left and right, this is how you view the left conveyor pallet compared to the right pallet. And as you can see, I have enabled left pallet. And then we do the same as we did on the picker position. Go to the first one, change position, move your robot and press save. And then we walk through all three positions. And then just press next, and you do the same on right. Afterwards, we set the pallet height, so we measure the height of the pallet and set that, and then we enable calibration pallet height, because that enables us to use different types of pallets later without having to recalibrate the system. We set movements. Here's where you set path planning, and as you can see, we have easy path planning, but you can also open that one up, and then you can set high approach boost and smart exits as you want it. And the last thing we do is we set waypoints, box free height, and as you can see, we have helping text for each positions. So then we press next, and we're done. That was it.